We're here to deal with legislators and a governor who are using legislative incendiary propaganda and bad policies to set fire to North Carolina. We have about 1.7 million North Carolinians who've been looted from health care. They've had their dreams looted. They've had justice looted. But we are here as a coalition and as a great people and as a family to bring back love, to bring back justice, to bring back righteousness, and we are glad that you came with us today. So if you're fired up and ready to go, say yes. If you're ready to get started right now, right here, and say from here, we're going to organize. From here, we're going to make sure if you're not a member of the NAACP or another organization that's a part of our coalition, we're going to join. From here, if you're not ready, this is the time to get ready to go forward. When I say, what do you want? You say justice. What do you want? Justice. When I say fall together, you say not one step back, fall together. Let's bring on Alison. Let's give her a big hand.
I'm honored to be here today to stand with the NAACP and our social justice allies to bring the energy of Moral Monday back to Raleigh. Over the past 2 years, you've made it clear that this is about much more than any one day or one event. We are part of a movement, and it is a movement that is spread across the state and the country. 2 years ago, we came together for the first time to protest this legislature as they attacked one of our most fundamental rights, the right to vote. But by the time session was over, it was clear that nothing was sacred. Not public education, not the environment, not women's access to health care, just to name a few. There was not one issue spared as this legislature persisted in taking our state backwards. But fortunately, we also understood early on that it wasn't going to be one issue area or one organization that would reclaim the state we love. For 2 years, Moral Mondays have brought us all together to demonstrate that these issues are powerfully interconnected, and it has proven that we are stronger, our voices louder, and our path to victory is more sure when we stand together. So friends, we are here today to continue the fight for justice. Events of this session, that's right, we're going to continue the fight because events this session so far have made it clearer than ever that state leaders have no regard for the people they claim to serve. This has been played out through the refusal to expand Medicaid in spite of clear evidence that would grow our economy and save lives. And I personally continue to be astounded by their total disregard for women who make up half the population and 54% of registered voters, yet continue to be treated as some kind of special interest that can be ignored. So it's pervasive attitudes like this that result in women losing their livelihoods as the state budget gets slashed for public education funding. And no surprise to anyone that then it's women that's the majority of registered voters without IDs. It's lessons like these that have come out of the Forward Together moral movement that each of our issues is powerfully linked to the next. And you don't have to take my word for it. We have a great slate of speakers lined up for you today who will make this case. We start today, we fight together, and we will win. Forward together.
Not one step back. Look, we're going to bring up the leader for the Moral Monday Forward Together Moral Movement, the president of the North Carolina NAACP, none other than the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II. Let's have it.
Hello. I like the word serving a little bit better. I'm just one of y'all. Everybody put your hands up and say, we're back. Say Moral Monday. On Wednesday, because Moral Monday is a spirit and not just a day. I want y'all to know why we've come back on Wednesday first is because they've been playing games over there. And they've said on Mondays they're going to shut the building down. I guess they thought you all were going to go away. But we are back, and we're going to be back. And this year, in Moral Monday, we're going to be doing some things a little bit different. I want to lay out why we're back. And then I want to talk about how we're going to move through this moral summer of resistance. Say moral summer of resistance. And then each speaker is going to come and take about 2 minutes to lay out their position. because our job is to go inside. All right, they're going to take 2 minutes and lay out specific policy, people who've been impacted, and then we're going to form a Uganda, and then we're going inside the legislature. I want you to know it's 13 persons already submitted themselves to civil disobedience, even including the president of the Shaw University Divinity School and other ministers and other people saying it's time for folk to stand up, and he's going back to recruit even other people to come. And so all of you who didn't get your chance last year and the year before, you're going to have a chance. Now let me tell you why. We are back because the extremist policies of Governor McCrory, Phil Berger, Tim Moore that were begun under Tom Tillis are still being used as a battering ram against the dignity of everyday North Carolinians. If you believe that, turn to your neighbor and say, that's right. We are back because instead of putting us on a journey toward the common good, they have put us on a path towards serving the greedy and creating a budgetary and economic catastrophe for our once more progressive state. You believe that? Turn to the other neighbor and say, that's right. Instead of listening to our Constitution, they are listening to the call of bigotry and bad policy. Turn to the one behind you if you agree with that and say, now that's right. That's right. Instead of following the values of the good book, the Bible, they have succumbed to the enticement of ALEC, the Tea Party, corporate money, and narrow regression. Touch yourself and say, I know that's right. Instead of protecting voting rights and raising the minimum wage to a living wage and ensuring Medicaid expansion and properly funding public education, they have over and over and over and over again promoted policies that are immoral, extreme, unconstitutional, wrong-headed, unjust, mean, and if I was sure enough in church, just plain sinful. Can I get an amen? Because the Bible even says, woe unto those who legislate evil and rob the poor of their rights and make women and children their prey, Isaiah 10. The policies being passed in this General Assembly are forms of political and social violence. What they are doing is like an extreme mob trying to see how they can use their power to tear up as much as they can. Now, if you think that definition of violence is wrong, because I know some of the media will pick it up, MIT professor, not me, MIT professor Otto Schwammer, who's a PhD in economics, says that whenever you pass policies that are economics without a consciousness, it is a form of attention violence. Coretta Scott King said, blocking people of living wages and medical care is a form of violence. Today is the last day of crossover. One of the bills they are focused on, it's a major deal, it's all in the newspaper, is a gun bill that will make a sheriff give someone a gun license after 90 days, even if they have not secured all of the information and background regarding their mental state. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I need those of y'all in the back to I want us to hear it, and I can't hear them and listen. Think about that now. They say they're going to force the sheriff, even if in 90 days you haven't found all of the background check, it's going to be all right to give that person a gun. And they're doing this in a time when we know that raising the minimum wage to just $9 an hour, we believe it should be higher than that. But if you just did $9, it would affect 700,000 low-wage workers in North Carolina, and it would impact our economy by $495 million. We also know that the majority of minimum wage workers are adults, and minimum wage workers are disproportionately women. And 600 economists have said it's the right thing to do, and not only is it the right thing to do, they have shown that raising the minimum wage actually increases jobs rather than causes job loss. And yet, that legislature and that governor are focused on how they can get people more guns. Something wrong with that. They're talking about more guns in a time when all of the statistics are showing that every state that has accepted Medicaid expansion, they've had more people get insured, they've had less people dying, and their budgets have become better. And yet, despite the evidence, in the face of everything, they know they're wrong, they still want more guns. They want more guns. Think about that now. Rather than giving proper funding to public schools, they want more guns. Rather than giving Medicaid expansion to 500,000 people, and somebody will talk about this in a minute, they want more guns. Instead of raising the minimum wage like 6 other Republican states have done, and 6 other Republican governors have done, they want more guns. Rather than protect labor rights, they want more guns. Rather than ensuring equal protection under the law for everybody, they want more guns. Rather than saying that women and the LGBT community and immigrants and African Americans and other minorities have rights under our Constitution, they want more guns. Rather than address the broken and disparate criminal justice system, not in Baltimore, not in Florida, but right here in North Carolina, they want more guns. Rather than protect citizens from coal ash and environmental justice, they want more guns. Rather than open up opportunities to vote and creating less barriers, they want more guns. They idealize the Second Amendment of the Constitution. They don't interpret it right, but they idealize it. It is almost as though they refuse to read the rest of the Constitution, like we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare. That is in the Constitution. All persons born or naturalized in the United States shall have the right to vote, and nobody can abridge or deny that right to vote. That's a pretty important amendment. Everybody, regardless of race or color or creed or origin, has equal protection under the law. That's a pretty important amendment. We hold it to be self-evident that all persons are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, the enjoyment of the fruit of your own labor, and the pursuit of happiness. That's in the North Carolina Constitution, and that's a pretty good amendment, or a pretty good preamble. Beneficent provision. Listen at this. This is the language of the North Carolina Constitution that they swore to uphold in Article 11, Section 4. Beneficent provision for the poor, the unfortunate, and the orphan is the first duty of a civilized and Christian state. And based on that measure, what's going on in that place and that place is uncivilized. I didn't say that. The Constitution said that. When you are more focused on guns than doing what is best for the good of the whole of the people, it's just wrong. Turn to your neighbor and say, show you right. So we are back. That's why we're back. We're back to demand that you put marriage on the ballot, put raising the minimum wage and indexing it with inflation, and let the people vote and make it a constitutional right. Accept Medicaid expansion, restore the funding to public education, and put a moratorium on House Bill 589 and all of the voter suppression until after we beat you in court. Then you will not have wasted so much time in the first place. We are back, not as a fad. Tell your neighbor, this is not a fad. Tell them I'm glad to see you, but this is not a fad. And it's not a farce, but we are back because we are determined to fight for the moral, constitutional, and economic soul of this state. Now I want to tell you, I'm on sabbatical right now. I had to take a break. I'm up at Union, and I'm not going to be back for the most of May. But they need to understand this movement ain't about William Barber. This movement is not about one organization, the NAACP, or one labor union. This movement is about them dealing with North Carolina. All of us. We're back to say say to them, if you put your hand on the Bible and swear to uphold the Constitution and then do what this majority has done, it is tantamount to legislative perjury. Because the Word of God says, if you love God and hate your brother, you are a liar. What they are doing is not even Republican. No, it's not Republican. Some of us went to the library and read about real Republicans. Talked to Tim Tyson, he gave us a book or two about Teddy Roosevelt and Eisenhower, who loved public education, and Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Galloway, and Bishop J.W. Hood in the AME Zion Church. No, this is not Republicanism. It's not being a Democrat. It's extremism. When you use your power to hurt and harm and make it harder for the poor and sick and children and voters, it's just wrong. So, we are back to say, don't expect us to quit. Don't expect us to get tired. Don't expect us to turn around, Gatewood. Don't expect us to stop. Don't expect us to stop marching. We love justice too much. We love God too much. We love people too much. We love right too much. We love our neighbors too much. We love North Carolina too much. We love America too much. We love the world too much to ever turn back. And we have one more message for you. You might win an electoral skirmish or two. We might not be able just yet to send you on a necessary vacation. But ultimately, because our cause is moral and it's right, we will win the battle for the soul of North Carolina. And that's why we need to understand that in many ways, North Carolina is our Selma.